The gods departed, but they left something behind. Not just temples, texts, and tales, but bloodlines, lineages that trace back to the hybrid offspring of gods and humans, royal families, priesthoods, and initiates who carried not only divine DNA but sacred duties. Across history, these descendants preserved the Anunnaki legacy, sometimes in plain sight, often in deep secrecy. And if we follow the threads, through the kings of Sumer, the pharaohs of Egypt, the emperors of Rome, and the secretive orders of Europe, we begin to see a pattern. The gods may have vanished from the skies, but they remained embedded in our systems of power. This is not just a story of the past, it's a warning and a prophecy. After the flood, Enki and the surviving Anunnaki re-established human civilization, but this time with clear bloodline control. They elevated certain humans, especially the descendants of Zeusudra and other hybrid lines, to kingship roles. These rulers were not chosen at random. They were part of a genetic experiment designed to maintain Anunnaki traits across generations. The Sumerian king list records rulers who reigned for hundreds, even thousands of years, lifespans that hint at something beyond normal human biology. From these divine human unions arose the concept of the right to rule, later known as the divine right of kings. It was more than a political idea, it was biological inheritance. Egyptian mythology speaks of a golden age ruled by gods, Ptah, Osiris, Thoth, and others, who arrived from a mysterious land, often equated with Atlantis. These gods, much like the Anunnaki, were tall, radiant beings associated with sky, stars, and advanced knowledge. Pharaohs claimed descent from these deities, calling themselves sons of Ra or Horus in the flesh. Their coronation rituals, regalia, and tombs were designed to mirror the divine order laid down in the stars. The same geometric codes found in Sumerian temples appear in the pyramids of Giza. The same gods appear under different names, and the same mission endured: to preserve the divine blueprint through initiation, secrecy, and sacred rule. As the gods faded from public view, their knowledge didn't vanish, it went underground. Initiates, specially chosen individuals, were entrusted with preserving the mysteries. These groups eventually became the mystery schools, and later, secret societies like the Order of Thoth, the Essenes, and eventually the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and Templars. These orders didn't worship the gods, they guarded their knowledge, the science of the soul, energy manipulation, celestial timing, and genetic resonance. Their rituals reenacted ancient cosmic events. Their architecture encoded star maps, and their oaths of secrecy preserved the teachings of gods once feared, then forgotten. But not all societies remained loyal. Some twisted the original knowledge into tools of control, forming elite cabals, dynastic families, and shadow institutions that shaped global empires from behind veils. Across cultures, royal families have long claimed descent from the gods. From the pharaohs of Egypt to the emperors of China, from the kings of Europe to the rulers of ancient Mesopotamia, each lineage maintained strict controls on marriage, blood purity, and ritual inheritance. In medieval Europe, nobles often referred to their heritage as blue blood. This was more than poetic. It may reference the copper-rich blood of the Anunnaki, whose biochemistry differed subtly from ours. The House of Habsburg, the Merovingians, the Tudors, and even certain branches of the modern British monarchy all trace their lines through mythic origins, many of which parallel stories of divine or semi-divine ancestry. In some cases, these families were associated with dragon lore, star lineage, or angelic visitation, symbols pointing back to the original sky gods. As humanity entered the modern era, the divine bloodlines no longer ruled openly, but their influence deepened. Secret societies and elite families began steering the course of history through banking, education, religion, and empire building. The symbolism of the gods, winged discs, all-seeing eyes, sacred geometry, persisted, now etched onto national seals, currency, and architecture. Some researchers suggest that hidden Anunnaki-descended elites influenced pivotal events: the founding of America, the rise and fall of empires, even world wars. The goal? To maintain control while preparing for a return, whether of the gods themselves or the full awakening of their hybrid descendants among us. Nearly every ancient tradition contains prophecies of return. In Mesopotamia, it was said the gods would descend again from the sky when the stars align. In Mesoamerica, Quetzalcoatl promised to return on a raft of clouds. In Egypt, Osiris would rise from the underworld to restore balance. In the Book of Revelation, beings from the heavens return in glory and judgment. Were these spiritual metaphors? Or encoded memories of real beings, Anunnaki or otherwise, who once ruled the earth and vowed to come back? Some believe these timelines align with astronomical cycles, like the 12,000-year precessional loop, or the rumored return of Nibiru, the homeworld of the Anunnaki. And others believe the return has already begun. In recent decades, modern science has begun to uncover what ancient texts long suggested. The Human Genome Project revealed that certain segments of our DNA, so-called junk DNA, remain unexplained. Some theorists argue this non-coding genetic material could be the legacy of external manipulation, traces of hybrid engineering. Mitochondrial DNA studies have shown sudden mutations in our lineage around 200,000 years ago, coinciding with the Sumerian timeline of humanity's creation by the Anunnaki. Archaeological finds, too, are challenging conventional history. Advanced metallurgy in prehistoric sites, megalithic architecture that defies known engineering, star maps thousands of years older than modern astronomy. Even mainstream institutions now admit that early humans may have received outside influence. The past is being rewritten, not with myth, but with evidence. If the Anunnaki created us using their own genetic code, then a piece of them lives in us still, and that piece may be awakening. Throughout the world, millions report intuitive downloads, dreams of ancient skies, and sudden bursts of insight. Terms like starseeds and DNA activation have entered spiritual circles, but these may point to a real phenomenon: the reactivation of latent memory and ancestral power coded into our biology. The original plan may not have been slavery, but apotheosis, the transformation of humanity into conscious co-creators. This perhaps was Enki's hidden gift, a seed waiting to bloom when the stars realign. The question is no longer, did the Anunnaki exist? The evidence, genetic, archaeological, symbolic, is too overwhelming. The real question is, will they return? And if so, what will they find? Some say they never left, that they operate in other dimensions behind veils of perception. Others believe they walk among us in altered forms, guiding key events from behind the scenes. And many await the moment when the skies open again, when the winged disc reappears, not as symbol, but as ship. But perhaps the true return isn't theirs, it's ours, our return to who we really are, a hybrid species, born of earth and sky, memory and matter, destined not to serve, but to ascend. In the ancient world, knowledge was sacred, guarded in temples, hidden behind symbols, and passed only to the initiated. Today, that knowledge has taken a new form: technology. Artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and genetic engineering are now in the hands of a select few. Modern technocrats who may not wear robes or crowns, but who wield power once reserved for the gods. Some believe this is a new mystery school, one built not in stone but in code. Think tanks, biotech labs, and elite institutions are now conducting experiments that echo the works of the Anunnaki, editing genes to craft new life, exploring consciousness through simulation, building machines to mimic or surpass the mind. But unlike the gods, many of today's engineers have no spiritual compass. They do not act as guardians, they act as rulers, and so the ancient warning returns. Power without wisdom leads to destruction. Are we repeating the mistakes of our creators, or will we finally evolve beyond them? The Anunnaki did not just shape our past, they shaped our future. Their wars became our myths, their science became our magic, their blood runs in our veins. And now, we stand at the threshold of remembering, not as worshippers, not as slaves, but as the heirs of the gods, ready to reclaim the knowledge, the power, and the destiny encoded in us from the very beginning. This has been Who Are the Anunnaki, from Nibiru to Earth, and the journey is just beginning.